What's going on, MMA fans? It's L Train here. It's been a while since I've been on here. I just been busy. I recently graduated from college and stuff, so kind of life has been in the way. Really hadn't had time to do it, but I'm gonna start back up, and I'm gonna start it out with a 7-part series, looking at the title picture in each of the 7 UFC divisions. In the past, I've done ranking videos, and the title picture and the ranking are two different things. Somebody who could be highly ranked might not be in my title picture. If you take Josh Koscheck, for example, he fought GSP back in 2007. It took him nearly 3 years to get a second shot at GSP. So somebody like him is not going to be in my title picture since he just recently lost to GSP. Of course, at the time when Josh Koscheck fought GSP the first time, GSP didn't have the title. So if you look at it from a different angle, you take somebody like John Finch. He fought for the title against GSP at UFC 87. He hasn't lost since, and he still hasn't got a second shot at GSP. Really, what I'm looking at when I do my title picture is a guy I believe could maybe fight for a title in the 2011 calendar year. A guy who, maybe he's going to get the next title shot. A guy who needs like one more big win or beat one more quality opponent to get a title shot. Those are the guys I'm kind of looking at. The up and comers, the guys who fell off the mountain a while back, has had some big wins, kind of getting back into the picture again. Those are the guys I'm going to be talking about in these videos. I'm going to start off talking about the UFC Lightweight division. There's in the other divisions, the UFC 126 is coming up, and there's a lot of big fights in that card. And some of the other divisions, I just kind of want to wait until that card's over with, and then it give me a better idea of where that title picture's heading. So I'm just gonna kind of lay off on that. There's no really big fights in the lightweight division coming up at UFC 126, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start off with that division. The title fight, the next upcoming title fight, is at UFC 130, and it's Frankie Edgar versus Gray Maynard 3. Outside of those two guys, the only 4 guys I really see being in the title picture is Clay Guida, Jim Miller, George Sotiropoulos, and Melvin Guillard. Clay Guida, he's won his last 3, and he's won 4 out of 6. He's got recent wins over Takanori Gomi and Nate Diaz. Jim Miller, he's 8-1 in the UFC, 19-2 overall. His only loss is to Gray Maynard. He has wins over Matt Wyman, Charles Oliveira, and Gleason Tebow. George Sotiropoulos is undefeated, 7-0 in the UFC. He's got a 14-2 overall MMA record. His last 3 wins are over Joe Lozon, Kurt Pellegrino, and Joe Stevenson. Melvin Guillard has won 6 out of his last 7. He's got wins over Jeremy Stevens, Gleason Tebow, and Dennis Seaver, I meant. I think Guillard, he's really looked good. After moving to Greg Jackson's camp, he had a dominating victory over Evan Dunham, who was highly ranked. So that destruction of Dunham really got Guillard in the picture. And looking down the road, the top 5 fights for this division that are scheduled, that I think will actually shape the division are these fights: George Sotiropoulos versus Dennis Seaver at UFC 127, Jim Miller versus Kamel Shalaruz at UFC 128, Kurt Pellegrino versus Gleason Tebow at UFC 128, Frankie Edgar versus Gary Maynard at UFC 130, and Anthony Pettis versus Clay Guida at UFC 13 finale. The way I see this thing shaking out is I see the winner of Anthony Pettis versus Clay Guida getting the next title shot. It's already a known fact. If Pettis wins, he's definitely getting the next title shot. He was guaranteed a title shot before the last Edgar versus Maynard fight, which ended in a draw. So he decided to go ahead and try his luck. Decided to go ahead and keep fighting. So if he wins, no doubt he's going to get the next title shot. I think Clay Guida found himself in a perfect spot. I really don't think without this fight he would have got a title shot. But I think that they're really looking at this fight to bring the next title contender, mainly because of who Jim Miller and George Sotiropoulos are facing. Seaver and Chalarus are both great fighters, but I don't see him anywhere close to the title picture. So these are not really the kind of opponents I think the UFC is going to want to have them face and then leap into a title fight right afterwards. I think the competition between Clay Guida and Anthony Pettis is a lot better. So I see that winner getting the next title fight. So you got the winner of the Pettis versus Guida fighting the winner of the Maynard versus Edgar fight. And then I believe that they'll put Sotiropoulos or Miller in a position in a big fight in order to get the next title shot after that. Two guys that are kind of on the outside looking in, I think, is Kenny Florian and Sean Shirk. I think they got a lot better shot now that Penn's out of the division. Since he's not the champion anymore, and both those guys lost to Penn. When they fought for the belt, I think they got a lot better shot of getting back in the picture. I think both them guys are one big win away from being back in the discussion. I kind of see Melvin Goulart as a loser in this situation. I think he's going to have to sit around and wait. I don't think he's going to get the title shot like he wants. I think with him and Florian jabbering back and forth, I think the UFC is probably going to set up that match between those two. On an off note, you got Sean Shirk, who I imagine can't be too happy about the result of the Goulart versus Dunham fight. He had a long layoff. He comes back. He fights Dunham. He gets a split decision victory, which, I really think that Dunham won that fight. But, even so, it helped Shirk get a little bit of momentum after that layoff. And then to have Dunham come in and destroy Dunham like that, I think it just really, really hurt his chances to get back in the title picture. But, who knows? If he gets the right fight, he wins a big fight, I think he's right back in the discussion. So, that's kind of way I see this division breaking down. I think the winner of the Pettis Guida fight is going to get the next shot. I see either Jim Miller or Sotiropoulos definitely getting one of those two guys getting the shot before the end of the year. If not both. And, if Goulart keeps on, winning, looking like he has, I see maybe early next year, midway through next year, him getting a title shot. So that's kind of how I see it shaking down. If you guys like this video, go ahead and stick around. Start tuning in, seeing if I got new videos. I'm gonna start breaking down the title picture in every division. So until next time, guys, I'm L Train. Talk to you later.